Sugar is a soluble carbohydrate found in many of the foods and beverages we consume. Sugar comes in a variety of forms that are required for the body to function. However, increased sugar consumption has resulted in a number of individual and public health issues over the years. The etymology of the word sugar varies and reflects the commodity's spread. From Sanskrit, akar, which means ground or candied sugar, came Persian shakar, then French sucre in the 12th century, and finally English sugar. Sugar has been produced in Asia since ancient times on the Indian subcontinent. The cultivation of this product spread to modern-day Afghanistan via the Khyber Pass. Honey was a natural source of sweetness at the time, and sugar was not cheap or plentiful. Historically, people extracted sweetness by chewing raw sugarcane. Using palm and coconut sugar in Java and other sugar-producing parts of Southeast Asia was preferred during the colonial era, even after refined sugarcane became more widely available. Sugarcane, which is native to the Indian subcontinent and other tropical areas in Southeast Asia, has one of the earliest historical references in Chinese manuscripts dating back to the 8th century BCE, stating that its use originated in the land of spices, India. Sugar was unimportant to Indians until they discovered a method of converting sugarcane juice into granulated crystals that were easier to store and transport. Crystallized sugar was discovered around the 5th century CE, during the reign of the imperial Guptas. In the 7th century, China established its first sugarcane plantations. Sugar became a cooking and dessert staple in the Indian subcontinent, the Middle East, and China. With increasing demand in Europe, Christopher Columbus gathered sugarcane samples in La Gomera, Canary Islands, in August 1492, and introduced the collected products to the New World. In 1501 the cuttings were planted and harvested as Hispaniola's first sugar cane. By the 1520s, many sugar mills had been established in Cuba and Jamaica. The Portuguese then brought sugar cane to Brazil. Brazilian sugar cultivation and production did not surpass that of São Tomé, the main center of sugar production in the 16th century, until 1600. Cane sugar became notorious for its use of slave labor and the heinous conditions endured by cane plantation workers. The modern sugar industry was founded by two German chemists, Andreas Sigismund Marggraf and Franz Karl Achard. Sugar was a luxury in Europe until the early 19th century. Because of the rise of beet sugar in Prussia and France, it became widely available. Beet sugar was a German discovery and invention. In 1747, Marggraf announced the discovery of sugar in beets and devised a method and process for extracting it using alcohol. In the late 18th century, Achard, a student of Marggraf, devised an economical industrial method for removing pure sugar. Achard first produced beet sugar in Karlsdorf in 1783, and the world's first beet sugar production facility was established in Cunern, Silesia, in 1801. The works of these two chemists served as the foundation for the European sugar industry. Sugar's popularity skyrocketed by the 19th century, and it could be found in every household. Sugar became popular as an essential food ingredient as a result of significant economic and social changes. Until the late 20th century, sugar was purchased in loaves that had to be cut with implements known as sugar nips. Granulated sugar was eventually sold in bags. Jacob Christoph Rad, the director of a sugar refinery, invented sugar cubes as well. In 1841, Rad created the world's first sugar cube. On January 23, 1843, he received a 5-year patent for the process and began producing sugar cubes. In 1872, another early sugar cube manufacturer, Henry Tate of Tate and Lyle, invented a new method of processing sugar cubes. Sugar is a broad term that refers to all monosaccharides and disaccharides, the simplest carbohydrates. Fructose, galactose, and glucose are examples of monosaccharides, while lactose, maltose, and sucrose are examples of disaccharides. All carbohydrates are made up of 3 building blocks, also known as 3 simple sugars. The 3 simple sugars known as monosaccharides, with the general formula C6H12O6, are fructose, galactose, and glucose. They bond with one another to form more complex carbohydrates. When carbohydrates are digested in the body, they are broken down into 3 simple sugars, fructose, galactose, and glucose, regardless of how complex they are to begin with. Fructose is a component of sucrose and is classified as table sugar. It occurs naturally in fruits, which is why it is referred to as fruit sugar. It discovered root vegetables, honey, and cane sugar as well. The sweetest sugar is fructose. Galactose is a component of antigens found on the surface of red blood cells that determine and differentiate blood groups. It is not found in free form, but it is a component of the disaccharide lactose, also known as milk sugar, along with glucose. Galactose has a lower sweetness than glucose. The most well-known type of sugar found in plant juices and fruits is glucose. The primary product of photosynthesis is glucose. Glucose syrup, a well-known liquid form of glucose, is widely used in food manufacturing. Lactose, maltose, and sucrose are disaccharides, compound sugars with the general formula C12H22O11. They are formed by combining 2 monosaccharide molecules that have been formed without the presence of a water molecule. Milk contains naturally occurring sugars. Lactose is formed and produced by combining a galactose and a glucose molecule. In comparison to children, many adults do not produce the enzyme lactase, which is required to digest lactose. Maltose is produced during the germination of some grains, such as barley. It is then converted and altered into malt, which gives rise to the sugar's name. Maltose is less sweet than glucose, fructose, and sucrose. Table sugar is made from sucrose, which is found in the stems of sugarcane and sugar beet roots. Sucrose is composed of 2 molecules, glucose and fructose, and is found naturally in fruits and some roots. The different sugar proportions in these foods and products determine and differentiate the sweetness range felt when eating them. Sugar beets are a root crop that grows well in areas with rich soil and a cool climate. The sugar beet growing season lasts about 5 months. They are much larger and heavier than those grown in backyards or grocery stores. When harvested, the beets can weigh up to 3 to 5 pounds. Sugar beet farms can be found in California, Colorado, Washington, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, and other states. Sugar cane is commonly grown as a perennial grass in more tropical climates. Perennial crops do not require annual replanting. When sugar cane is harvested, it is cut just above the root level, allowing new sprouts to grow and be harvested in 10 to 12 months. The cane grows up to 10 to 12 feet tall and is native to Florida, Texas, and Louisiana. Whether the sugar comes from sugar cane or sugar beet, the purification and process are the same. The end result is pure sucrose. The only distinction between the two facilities is that the sugar beets are refined at a sugar beet factory or a single facility. Sugar cane, on the other hand, is processed at two different facilities, a raw sugar factory and a sugar refinery. Molasses is removed from raw cane sugar during the refining process, and refined sugar is produced. Because the refining process removes unwanted tastes and colors, the sucrose of raw sugar extracted from sugar beet or cane can be easily consumed. A wide range of sugar varieties can be produced by varying the refining, cleaning, crystallization, drying, and molasses levels. White granulated sugar is the most common in recipes and is commonly found at home. Because they are fine tiny crystals, regular sugar granules are ideal for bulk handling. Confectioner's sugar, also known as powdered sugar, is granulated sugar that has been ground to a fine powder and sifted. Because it dissolves well, this type of sugar is commonly used in whipping cream, confections, and icings. Fruit sugar has smaller crystals that are more uniform in size than regular sugar. Sugar crystals do not settle at the bottom of a container due to the uniformity of their crystal size. It is a necessary characteristic in dry mixes. They are commonly found in desserts like pudding, gelatin, and powdered drinks. Baker's special sugar is more refined than fruit sugar, and as the name implies, it is primarily used and developed for baking. Baker's special sugar is commonly used to create a fine crumb texture in donuts, cookies, and cake recipes. Superfine sugar, also known as bar sugar or castor, has the smallest crystal size of any white granulated sugar. They are commonly used in the preparation of smooth or delicate fruit desserts like mousse. They dissolve quickly in cold beverages due to their fine crystals. Because coarse sugar has a larger crystal size than regular sugar, it is highly resistant to color change, also known as inversion. Coarse sugar is frequently used in cooking and baking, and its essential properties are commonly found in fondants, confections, and liquors. Sanding sugar, the final and white sugar, is also widely used in baking or confectionery, such as a sprinkle or toppings on baked goods. It can be large or fine crystals. Both types reflect light and give the product a sparkling appearance. The light brown sugar is commonly used in sauces. The dark brown has a stronger molasses flavor and is commonly used in barbecue, baked beans, and other full-flavored dishes. Brown sugars have a higher moisture content. Turbinado sugar, also known as demerara sugar or raw cane sugar, is a partial process that retains a significant amount of naturally occurring molasses. It tastes mildly of brown sugar, has larger crystals, and is blonde in color. Muscovado sugar is a very dark brown, unrefined cane sugar with unremoved molasses, giving it a particularly strong flavor. It has a sandy texture with crystals that are slightly coarser and stickier. It is also known as Barbados sugar. Free-flowing brown sugar has a powdery texture but is less moist than regular brown sugar. Because it is not moist, it does not clump and is free-flowing, making it easy to sprinkle or measure. It is also known as granulated brown sugar and is ideal for topping cereal. The World Health Organization, WHO, provides a technical report as evidence of the risk of obesity associated with excessive consumption of sugary beverages. Sugar does not cause obesity or metabolic syndrome, but it does lead to unhealthy dietary behavior when consumed in excess. Excess sugar-sweetened food consumption can lead to type 2 diabetes and obesity in adults and children. A 2019 meta-analysis discovered that sugar consumption does not improve mood but rather lowers alertness and increases fatigue within 60 minutes of consumption. Consumption of sugar-sweetened foods was linked to higher rates of unhealthy behaviors and hyperactivity. Excess sugar consumption can increase blood pressure and chronic inflammation, both of which are pathological pathways to heart disease. Sugar also contributes to tooth decay and nutritional deficiency. Sugar reduces consumption of foods containing essential nutrients, resulting in a poor diet quality. The World Health Organization, WHO, recommends that adults and children limit their consumption of free sugars to less than 10% of their total energy intake, preferably less than 5%. Sweets and nutritious foods with added sugar or sugar-sweetened can be part of a healthy diet in moderation, as long as the total carbohydrates fit in with and align with the daily carbohydrate goal. The average American consumes 126.4 grams of sugar per day, according to research. This equates to nearly 500 calories per day, or the equivalent of a full meal. Germany comes in second with 102 grams per day.